The Baltimore Ravens week 1 of training camp is almost over, and we are here to talk about the good and the not so good. Let's get it. You know why you're here. Let's talk Ravens with Yolanda. Let's go. A healthy balance at every position. If they brought in Derrick Henry, because the Ravens aren't serious. Derek DeCosta's make or break season, off season. Good evening, Ravens flock. How are we doing tonight? I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you all so much for joining me on this Thursday night. I appreciate you for riding with me, for rocking with me these last few months. I just wanted to come by real quick and talk about the good things that we've seen or what we're hearing from our Ravens this first week of training camp. There's been some great news, and if it continues, we are in for a wonderful season this year. There are also some things that give me a little concern, but I'm going to preface this show by saying tonight, I want to say it right here, right now, it is very early. Training camp is to me, it's a measuring stick of kind of where we are, what talent we have. If there are any deficiencies, any weaknesses, every team has them. So I want to go on record tonight saying, of course, I'm always going to root for the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm not going to pretend that our team has some areas that we can shore up. And so that's what we're going to dive into tonight. So before we begin, as customary here, I'd like to say a warm welcome to the ones who have joined in the chat. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you happen to have a YouTube channel, so I'm trying something new. If you are here tonight and you're watching and you have a YouTube channel, please type in !house, and my Stream Elements should drop the link to your channel in the chat box so that people can go over and subscribe to your channel, because if you are here, that means you've got some amazing content of your own, and we want to make sure we share it. So first person here tonight that we have with us, we have Mr. 86 Ghost, otherwise known as Brandon Bazell. Good evening to you, Brandon. I hope you are doing just fine. Thank you for joining. And Brandon, if you would, if you feel comfortable and if you are coming back to YouTube, there you go. He's already done it for me. Let's see if the Stream Elements is working. If I set it up correctly, we'll see. If not, we'll try it again next time. But want to start off by saying one thing, and I'm keeping my eye out to see if Stream Elements does it, if I set it up right. But one thing I will say, oh, good. We have another YouTuber in the building tonight with us, Big Reg. He is the host of Big Boy Talk. Can't wait till he comes back. I can't wait till he comes back to the YouTube streets out here, because he produces great content. I don't know. I think I didn't set up the Stream Elements correctly. Maybe I need to do something. I don't know. It was supposed to be when you type in !house, and if you have a YouTube channel, it's supposed to drop your link. But nevertheless, let's move on. But I'm glad to see you, Big Reg. Glad you're here. And I hope to see you very, very soon back in these YouTube streets. So let's start with Lamar, because he is the heart of the team. He's our quarterback number one. And I looked at him just through the internet, and I saw how he looked, how he looked as he returned to camp, because as we all know, the first I think 3 days or so, he he was under the weather. He was unwell. And there wasn't a lot of news about what was going on with him up until I think yesterday. But one thing I'll say is I did not realize that it was something more serious than, okay, he has a little cold or something. That's what I thought it was. Okay. But from what I'm hearing, I can't confirm this, but I'll share my screen real quick. Let's see. I think it's right here. I'll share the screen. What we saw on social media from Adam Schefter, he put out a tweet the other day, I think it was yesterday, after missing the past few days of practice due to a stomach virus. So this was a little bit more than just, oh, he's, out for one day. No, this kept him out for a few days. And when he came back, when Lamar came back, I looked at, like how he was doing, how he looked, and I was a little upset, to be honest with you. I was upset, not that he was under the weather, no, because, it happens. It does. And I know people are going to say, well, every year he gets sick with a stomach bug. Such is life. Every year I get sick with a sinus infection. It just, it is what it is. But I will say this, that I was not pleased that he was, and I don't know if he was rushed back. It could have been his own desire to come back sooner rather than later. But my preference would have been, especially because I know I've had a stomach bug before, those take a while. Those take a few days to you start to recover, because if you're not eating or if you're not staying hydrated, there's always the issue of fatigue. And he just didn't look, Lamar just didn't look well. I mean, he was out there. Of course, it was hot outside, humid, all of those things. And I am no doctor, so I've told you all that before. You got to go talk to someone else who is, if you want like spot on information. I'm just giving you my perception or, my impression of it. I would have liked to have seen Lamar stay at home or stay out for the remainder of the week, and maybe over the weekend, maybe by Saturday, Sunday, Monday at the latest, he can return. He can return. But that was not the decision. And I think I saw another tweet that said after about 1 hour on the field, he had to leave. He made an exit with some trainers and staff and so forth. But that is something that I want to make sure that we don't rush players back, no matter what the ailment is, no matter if it's a stomach bug or anything else, just don't rush them back. If they're not ready to come back, they're not ready. And, that's kind of my thought, that we need to take that into consideration. So that's where I stand on that. But speaking of quarterbacks, right? Speaking of quarterbacks, one thing that came to me, I'm going to go back because I haven't live streamed since last week. And John Harbaugh had a presser either end of last week, maybe Thursday, Friday. No, it wouldn't have been Thursday, but it might have been Friday or Saturday, whenever it was. John Harbaugh had, his first presser at the start of training camp. And he gave Lamar Jackson the utmost praise. And not only did he say it, but he said it with conviction, like he really meant it. Because you can sort of tell, right? When you hear something from someone, something tells you, I don't know if I believe what they're saying. I really believed what he was saying. For the most part, he gave nothing but wonderful accolades to Lamar, and saying that, when it's all said and done, we believe that Lamar is going to be known as the best quarterback to ever play, in the league, to play the game. And it's something that you want to hear from your head coach about your QB1, because you want to make sure that your front office, your coaches, right, they are all in. And obviously they are all in. Well, I take that back. Let me back up. You want to believe that your coaches are all in. And from many accounts, it would appear that our coaches are all in. One thing that Harbaugh said that kind of caught my attention is when he said, I I'm paraphrasing. If you want the direct quote, they have it on the YouTube channel, BaltimoreRavens.com, or on right here on YouTube, Baltimore Ravens. You can listen to it. So this is me paraphrasing. What I heard from Harbaugh was the Ravens, or we have built this offense around Lamar. That's where I took issue. That's where it got me. Because I thought to myself, wait, if that's true, then I would have seen a wide receiver number one before now, before last season. After 2019, if there was complete buy-in on Lamar, after Lamar won his first MVP, unanimous MVP, there should have been a number one wide receiver. And everybody might have a different opinion or version of what a number one wide receiver is. When I hear of wide receiver number one, I'm thinking of a player who, no matter what team you put that person on, no matter what scheme they are running, no matter what, this person, this player would be the number one threat or the number one in their position group. And yes, we have Zay Flowers, and he is our number one wide receiver. He was that last year, but he was a rookie. So for me, I would have liked to have seen, if I'm going back to John Harbaugh's statement of we've built this offense around Lamar. If I'm going back to that, I want to see, not only have you built a wall of protection for him, is that O-line the best that it can be? More importantly, I want to see, did you equip Lamar with the weapons that he needs to succeed? And that's where I thought, I was with Harbaugh for a long while when I heard him. But as he continued to speak, and when he talked about the fact that the front office is building that offense around Lamar, I said, I don't think so. And something that drew my attention over the last few days, and I'll share my screen and show you this, something that actually goes to my point that I didn't really agree with. Oh, we've built this offense for him. Let me go back. Let me try and share my screen. Okay, here we go. What happens when you go live? Things just happen. So this is Warren Sharp. He did a football analysis where he broke down and ranked each of the NFL teams' position groups, each position group for every team. So the only one we're going to talk about a little bit tonight is the wide receiver, and he did lump in the tight ends with that too. So, but let's have a look. So keep in mind what I just mentioned about what Harbaugh said. We've built this offense for Lamar, around Lamar. If that be true, let's see where the Ravens rank on this list. And of course, it's not always spot on. And I mean, I take issue with it. I don't think we are the number that I'm going to show you in a second, but it's not 100%. It's not foul proof. This is Warren Sharp's opinion. That's all it is. But let's just have a look. So at the top, he ranks San Francisco 49ers. I really can't argue with that too much. I can argue with it. Let's see what happens with Brandon Ayuk. But for purposes of tonight, we're focused on where do the Baltimore Ravens rank. All right, we keep going. Finally, number 22. The Baltimore Ravens, in terms of the wide receiver room and the tight end, ranked number 22. That to me says, I don't know that I agree with John Harbaugh's assessment of our team in terms of what we've done to demonstrate we are all in and we believe in Lamar Jackson. Because if that were the case, I think we would be higher on the list. Let me hear from you in the comments. And if you're watching this on replay, thank you for watching. Let us know. Do you think the Ravens are rightly ranked at number 22? Do you think we should have been higher in terms of our wide receivers and tight ends? I do think we should have been a little bit higher. And the reason I say that is because if we're ranking wide receivers alone, okay, there's an argument to be made that 22 might be right. But when we bring in our tight end room, to me, that should have boosted where we are. But that's one person's opinion. And it was just really interesting as I was going through it. And I said, how did we rank so low on this list? So let me take a few comments because we do have a few others who have joined us in the chat. And I want to make sure I say a warm welcome to everyone who has recently joined. So Big Reg says that he's going back to Lamar. He must be eating certain kind of foods in the off season that don't sit right with him. Either that or his GF is not great. His girlfriend is not a great cook. Oh, stop it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I just feel like we should have rested him just a little bit more. Wide receiver number 1 is DJ Moore. Prime Hopkins, Torrey Smith would be y'all wide receiver number 1 now. He makes a point. Jay the Six, welcome in. Hope you're doing great. He makes a good point. I can't argue too much there. So it would have been nice to see the wide receiver room spruced up a bit to demonstrate that we're really all in on Lamar, and we've actually built an offense for him. Lady Laura Baltimore, good evening. Thank you for joining. We also have with us tonight, Killa Cam. Good to see you. I hope you're doing fine. Jay the Six said, Ayuk and CD are looking for new contracts, and EDC is still sitting on his shoulders. Let me touch on that for a moment. This is something I want to put a pin in. Those are 2 players who could easily be wide receiver 1, no matter where you put them. I'm going to say on a majority of the teams, because if you put Ayuk on the Vikings, I mean, Justin Jefferson's still going to be number 1. You get my point. When I say number 1 on any team, I mean realistically. On a majority of the teams, if you were to take either CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Ayuk and place them on a vast majority of these teams in the NFL, they'd be number 1, or at least they'd be competing for number 1, with the exception of a few teams that really have that number 1 wide receiver already solidified. Absent that, EDC, we should have made that happen. We should have made it happen. I don't think we are, so I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole and say, oh, I wish we could, and I hope we do. I know we're not. The salary cap is what it is, and we are not in a position. Okay, I don't know what it is right now. I don't know if it's because I know we recently signed the safety, so I don't know where we are right now. I don't know if we're at 5 million or 4 million. I don't know where. We're not anywhere close to enough to bring in Ayuk and Debo and CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, we can trade for and give it and relinquish draft capital. Sure, we can do that, but is that something that the Ravens historically do? Nah. Big Reg says 22. That's crazy work when you claim to be doing your best to build a position. My thoughts exactly. I couldn't have said it better. I could not have said it better. Again, this is not a knock to John Harbaugh, because I do appreciate him coming out, and coming to publicly tell everyone and proclaim, we believe in our QB1. But I just kind of like you to show me. That's just my personality. I like you to not just tell me you're in my corner. I want you to show me that you're in my corner. And I think a way that we would have seen and had, solid proof this man means what he says would just to have done something like that. Like Jay the Six said, you go out and you get CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, but we didn't. So Lady Laura Baltimore says she thinks we should have been higher. Okay, let me ask you this. If you think we should have been higher, where would you have ranked us? And again, what I showed you was the rankings for wide receiver and tight end. So if 22 is too low for you, and it is for me, I would have liked to have seen us maybe, I'm not going to say top 15. I'm not. Maybe right outside top 15, maybe 16. And the best person to answer that question would be Coach, because he does such a wonderful breakdown of each team. He does every offseason. Well, I don't know if every offseason, I don't want to speak for him, but this offseason, and I know he did it last year, he does a comprehensive breakdown of ranking all 32 teams. And he does such a deep dive into why. He gives you analysis, explanation. He looks at stats. He looks at players' performance. It's a great, great series. If you missed it, please make sure to head over to Coach Evans' Sip to Tally and more Sip to Tally to check that out, because that will really kind of put this in perspective for you. I'm not going to give it away because I think he just finished the ranking all 32 teams. I'm not going to tell you where the Ravens rank. You just got to go over and watch it and support him. Okay, so Jay the Six said Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews are carrying that 22. Yeah, I think we're a little higher than 22. As I said earlier, that's Warren Sharp's opinion. And, Killer Cam makes a good point. He thinks COVID messed up his immune system. Perhaps, but I know that, and I'd really have to go back and study this because, COVID is 2020. I'd have to look at him where, was he sick in 2019? Was he sick in 2018? Was he sick in college? Was in 2017? I would have to really go back and look, but that could be a point. So thank you for that. Yeah, he could have. Stomach bugs are so incredibly, easy to catch. So it could have been being being around children. You never know. And so, the fun day, yeah, he could have been at the fun day that he just got sick. But my point was that it doesn't do him any good to rush him back. And I haven't heard from Lamar myself, so I'm just going by what we just saw, the tweet I just showed you, that it was, I think Adam Schefter said it was a stomach virus. So I'm going with that. If it's a stomach virus, take your time. You need to take your time to rest. Killer Cam says, me too, Yolanda. Yeah, I tell you, this is it. Killer Cam said, that's what I said on LBHT yesterday. Speaking of LBHT, another phenomenal content creators, another channel that you need to go watch. I think you should definitely do it. If you're not subscribed already, lunch break, hot take right here in these YouTube streets. Make sure you go over and give them a follow. Yeah. Jay the Six, you come in here just kicking up dust. And I can't be mad at Jay the Six because even though it's hard to accept sometimes, because, we are Ravens fans, Jay the Six is not. Jay the Six has his own channel, and I can't wait for him to come back. Make sure you click on his avatar and take you over to his channel. I'm going to work between now and the next time we do a live stream. I'm going to work to get my stream bot working, because obviously I didn't do it correctly. So I want to make sure that when you guys come in, you can just type in !house and it works. But this is a good point. Even though Jay the Six is not a Ravens fan, he's a Panthers fan, but he's he's a lover of the sport, and he's so well versed. And sometimes it is hard to take stock of your team because you just want us to be perfect and everything. But this is so true. The Ravens will relinquish draft capital for defense. We gave up a second rounder for Roquan, and I do not begrudge that at all, because I'm very pleased and I'm extremely happy that we have him. But the comment is true. We'll do it if, when, and for who we want. That's the thing. So that's that's something that's a good point. Hard to accept. Hard to accept, but it is true. It is very true. So thank you for that, Jay. The Hawk TV, good evening. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. He would rank the Ravens at 15. Okay, I had us at 16, just right outside that 15 mark. But I can't be mad at that because based on the roster, they're going to punish teams at the line of scrimmage. Let's dive into the line of scrimmage. And the Hawk TV, I'm glad you said that because I have a few concerns about about the line of scrimmage. Namely, how are we going to fare on O-line? And that was going to be later in this show, and I'll come back to where I was headed next. But let's talk about this for a minute. I'm a little concerned because what I'm hearing, and I have not gone to any of the training camp myself, so let me put that out there right now. What I'm hearing is that Ben Cleveland, who was supposed to be, right? He was supposed to, it was his spot to lose. He just has not looked good. And then Daniel Falele, who I had very, very little thoughts that he could come in and oust Ben Cleveland just because of what I saw last year. And from what I'm hearing, if you put the two side by side and try to match them up, you've got Daniel Falele up here and Ben Cleveland. So when you say that we're going to punish teams at the line, let me go back. When you say that we're going to punish teams at the line of scrimmage, this is a good point, and I want to revisit it. So that's a concern that I have, because if I were to say, and I put a poll up on the channel, it was either yesterday or it was yesterday, and I asked, and I'd like, if you're here in the chat tonight, please feel free to weigh in. But the poll was, moving into, almost concluding week 1 of training camp, where do you think our issues are as a team? Do you think we should, if we could add one more player to the team, one more, if we have a deficiency or if we have a weakness, if we could add one more person to the team, what position group do you think needs to be addressed? And I think the poll was edge pass rush, O-line, nobody, we're fine, we're good, and then other. Surprisingly and interestingly enough, someone or someones said that they don't think we need any additions, that we're just fine. I do think that we are really good as a defensive unit overall. And before I give you what I think our weakness is, this whole offseason I've been saying it's been O-line. I'm still there with the O-line. But before I let you know what I really think, if we could address one thing right now, my concern is I thought as a new, having Zach Orr as our new defensive coordinator, we would need to rely on the offense for the first few weeks to carry us while the defense gelled. That's what I thought. And from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing from the reports at training camp, it's just the opposite. It's flip-flop. The offense, who now has had a year to gel together, with the exception of a couple of new additions, for the most part, 80%, maybe not 80, maybe 70%, 65, 70% of our O-line, we're returning. Obviously we lost Zeitler. That's the one person who I'm still just not sure why we let him go. I don't get why we let go of Zeitler. But, Morgan Moses, okay, fine. But Zeitler, that one still kind of baffles me. But I thought that the defense would need some time to solidify, to gel, to form a cohesive unit. But that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that, for the most part, that the defense, they're taking care of business. And that's what you love to hear. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you this. This was a tweet that came out from Kyle Barber, Kyle Phoenix. He said, and this was 2 days ago. I'm sorry, this is yesterday. Defense dominated in practice. 6 interceptions. Whew, that's going to lead me right into my thoughts of where this team could really add. Marcus Williams, he had a pick on Josh Johnson's first pass. Let's stop and talk about Josh Johnson for a moment. We had an opportunity in the offseason to either A, find a really good replacement for Tyler Huntley, or B, keep Tyler. One of the two. And we brought in Josh Johnson. From what I'm hearing, Josh Johnson is looking, I don't want to say horrible because that was the first thought that came to mind, but I'm trying to soften it up just a bit. It was not, what I'm hearing, he's not good. He's not looking good. 6 interceptions that day. Humphrey had 2, 1 on LJ and 1 on Johnson. Hamilton, this is where I was mentioning earlier that our defense seems to really be holding down the fort, which in my mind is crazy because we have so many new people. We have so many new, we have a new coordinator at the helm. I just figured, oh, wow, it's going to take some time. We have Mullen. He had 2, but 1 was negated by, defensive PI. Okay. Jalen Armour-Davis picked Johnson during, the drills. So we're seeing a small glimpse. And again, I say this before, I'll say it again. It's very early, so I don't want to panic. I don't want to get stressed out about it. But what I'm saying here is, or what I'm seeing here is our defense seems to be way ahead of our offense. And that for me leads me to my answer. Where do I think we can add? I would have, if we could. And I know at this point, I don't know who's out there on O-line. Probably no one or no one, worth bringing in. But that would be my thought. O-line or backup quarterback. I think pass rush and edge are definite needs. I agree. I'm not going to overlook that. But when I'm hearing there's like an interception festival going on at training camp, that gives me a little concern. So, I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to keep hoping. But from what I'm seeing, and, behind Josh Johnson, we have Devin Leary. They're just not getting it done. Let me take some comments. Let me hear from you. Killer Cam says that Lamar was fine until he got COVID in 2020. Okay. Yeah. B Squared says it's that Baltimore processed food. Florida, he was eating good in Florida. It's always when he comes back. Could be. With us tonight, we have Tanja Bowman in the house. Good evening, Tanja. I hope you are doing just fine. Yes, we have, oh goodness, we have a visitor with us in the house tonight. If you all will say hello to Just Tornado. She has an amazing channel where she does inspirational content. Got to go over, click on her avatar, go give her a like and follow. She's very good. Early in the morning to start your day, 6 o'clock, 6:30. Make sure you go and check her out. Thank you for joining Just Tornado. Appreciate it. Killer Cam says, but people were telling me to relax about the O-line. People were saying the same thing to me. And I tried to see if I could thread the needle, right? Okay, don't worry, don't stress, don't panic. It's early. We've got the talent we need. We're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. We picked up, Josh Jones. We have Makari. We have a couple of backups who are swing positions. They can play at pretty much any position on that offensive line, except center. And that's the one position that I feel on the O-line is the most solid. Thank you, Tyler Linderbaum. Tanja says, Ben Cleveland has been so disappointing. Oh, Falele is being talked up because he is the best out of the bunch. But is that really a good thing? I don't know. All I can go on is what I saw last year, and I wasn't super impressed with Falele. I had concerns about Falele, Molly Sala, but now, as Tanja is saying, they're being talked about. Well, not maybe not Molly Sala, but definitely Falele. Does that mean he's good? Does that mean that he's going to go out there and dominate? Does that mean he's going to, protect Lamar the way we need him to? I don't know. But it's what we have because we didn't pick up anybody else. Killer Cam says a guard. So if you could only bring in one other person, right? Only one other person right now on this Ravens roster, no matter what side of the ball, Killer Cam says he want a guard. Tanja says O-line first, then edge. I'm with you. That's my thought. I would really like to see O-line. And then as I mentioned earlier, and Tanja said it next, a backup QB. So if we look at this, we have a few areas that are less than, I don't want to say perfect, but they're less than great. So where does that leave us as a team? We're going to have to work with what we have at this point. We're not, I don't know. I mean, sure. Can EDC bring in an edge player at the very last minute? He can. He sure can. Who's out there? I don't know. Who's out there that's at this point would be able to contribute? And we went through this last offseason. We talked about, it's so late in the offseason. It's training camp or it's it's preseason. And we signed Clowney right after training camp and look what Clowney did for us. Gosh, I hate that he's gone. I don't like it. I really don't. But I understand. I get it. And I can't even fault Clowney. Wish him all the best, just not when he plays our Ravens. And I don't think we play the Panthers, but you get where I'm going. Lady Laura Baltimore says O-line. Yeah. We need Marshall Yonda back. Isn't that the truth, the Hawk TV? We haven't, I read somewhere, must have been a tweet or something. Someone said, we haven't, our O-line just really hasn't been the same since Marshall Yonda left. Ooh, Killer Cam. No, don't say he's trash. Please. Because he's all we have. If he is trash, then what has been Cleveland, Killer Cam? If Falele is trash, then where does that leave Ben Cleveland? Lady Laura Baltimore, defense was on point, but the backup QBs are suspect. They are. That is where I think we really need to put some stock in we need to pay attention. We need to focus our attention on this. Yeah. The backup QB is a thing. I wasn't as nervous because imagine us last offseason with the roster that we had. At backup, we had Tyler Huntley. Is Tyler Huntley a starting quarterback? We all probably are going to say no, he's not. But was he at least a decent backup QB for us? I'm going to say he was. Now look, who would you rather have? Josh Johnson or Devin Leary? Or would you rather have Tyler Huntley? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Killer Cam says he needs to move to coaching. Ooh. Yikes. That's rough. And I mean, I can't fault you guys for saying this. That's because Josh Johnson is throwing floaters and getting the receivers hit. He's going to get them hurt. He's going to put them in harm's way, in danger's way if he's playing on the field in the lightning speed of the NFL games. Throwing passes behind the receiver's back. He's not catching them in stride. That's a problem. Yeah, Killer Cam says, but it's the same defensive, scheme. It is. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's what it was, Tanja. When I read that yesterday and I saw the clips, that's what it was like. They were out there just having a field day. They were just out there enjoying themselves in interceptions. Yeah. Lamar had a stomach virus that has nothing to do with food. Yeah, it could. And you're right, Tanja. Well, let me not speak on medical stuff, but doesn't necessarily have to do with food. And it could have been a virus that he picked up from wherever. You can get a stomach virus anywhere. So, um, oh goodness. Yes. Oh, good evening to you, Florence. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Equip Institute is with us tonight, and she has a channel of her own. Listen, do you struggle with time management? Do you struggle with organization? Do you struggle with moving the needle? Miss Equip Institute, click on her avatar. Hopefully it will take you over to her page. She can certainly help you with that. Thank you for joining. Glad you're here. And make sure you all please say hello to Miss Equip Institute for me. Let her know that she's welcome. Just Tornado says she doesn't know anything about football, but she's here. I appreciate it. And hopefully we can hopefully we can encourage you to become a Ravens fan. And even if I don't know where you are, what area you're in, but if you're not in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, if you happen to have a Baltimore Ravens game televised, because we do have several national televised games this year, if you or you happens to be playing in your local network, please give us a watch. Let us know how we're doing. Thank you, Big Reg. Yes, please make sure you all hit the thumbs up button for me. It's a wonderful way, easy way to support the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Jay the Six says, we just drafted Devin Leary. He'll be fine as your backup quarterback. Thank you, Jay the Six. You know, like I said, Jay the Six comes in here just, and you can't really be mad at him because he speaks the truth, right? He speaks the truth. But a right guard and a left guard to grow with Linderbaum would be nice. Very true. Very true. Dr. Ilwan, thank you for joining. Glad you're here. He says, good evening, Flock. Hope all is well and everyone is having a blessed day. Go Ravens. Yes, losing Huntley was a very big deal. I think that's one of the more underrated and less talked about loss of this offseason. And I think it's starting to show more now as we see this current state of our backup QB. So, Killer Cam says he was talking about Josh Johnson. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. But I'm just going to say, I think our defense is going to pick up right where we left off last year. I don't think that there's going to be a significant drop off in our defense. I thought there could be. I was wrong because from what we're hearing, the defense is out there causing havoc. The defense is out there holding it down. Meanwhile, the offense continues to struggle. That's where I think we need to find a way, figure it out. How do we improve? We've got a few more weeks to do it. And, this is something that I'm passionate about because I know that we have so much potential in Lamar. We just need to make sure that this O-line is ready to go. And I'm not going to harp too much on the O-line because I have done that before multiple times on this channel, but I will say that it still gives me concern. Moving back over to the defense, I will say, this is one thing I will say, and good for you. I see Equip Institute says she's learning here. She's here to learn about the game. That's good. Thank you. I hope you too will become a Ravens fan, or at least if you are in the DMV area, hopefully you'll watch the Ravens and at least see some of the names like, oh, I remember them mentioning Lamar Jackson. Oh, wow, he is good, because he really, really is. But moving back to the defensive side of the ball, I want to say this, and I'll end it here. We know Kyle Hamilton is I'm going to say, arguably, he's our best defensive player. And that's my opinion. If not the best, he's certainly one of the best. Absolutely. And yeah, but I want to take a couple of minutes. I just want to take a couple minutes to show you all this. When I saw this tweet, I almost lost it. This was yesterday. You all know if you've been here on my channel or if you're new to my channel, welcome. Let me tell you, I am a huge Odafe Owe fan. I believe in him. And Odafe Owe, for those who don't know or who are new to football, Odafe Owe, first round pick. That means we took him early in the draft. And when you take someone in the first round, you're expecting them to get on the field immediately and produce. The margin for error is very slim. The expectation for first rounders is that the learning curve for you is very minimal. You are ready to produce. And I will say this about Owe. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say it. Even as one of his biggest fans, has he lived up to first round talent or expectation? He has not. But when I saw this tweet, when I saw Odafe Owe had another, that means there was one before that, right? Because the word another is in there. Oh, don't get me on the linguistics. But Owe had another solid practice. Made it to the quarterback a couple of times as he's done each day. This was where I said, I'm going to hang my hat. This is where I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to hang my hat because I am expecting and I'm needing Owe to step all the way up because we need that pass rush, especially in Clowney's absence. We need that edge to be set. We need him. I'm also really happy to hear that Ojabo is healthy. He's out there. He's practicing. So our defense is slowly coming back. Jalen Armour-Davis, I heard good things about him too. Pepe Williams. I don't know if I was just excited to see that Pepe Williams was on the field. We drafted Pepe and it was like, Pepe who? Where did you go? Where have you been? Well, welcome back, Pepe. Wherever you've been, thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. So when I say that our defense, areas that to me earlier on in the offseason were question marks, it's starting to look a little bit more even. That's good. That I'm excited about that. That makes me happy. That really makes me happy. I'm going to take a few comments here. And then, if you guys have anything in particular that you want to discuss, or if there's something that I missed, or if there was a presser, or if there was news that you think we should cover. There are so many pressers over the last week. So many. I don't know that I can cover them all. But if there's something else that you'd like to talk about, let me know. Leave it in the comment section. Let me know. We'll touch on it. Yes, that's right. Tanja, Big Reg, thank you. Like you said, hit that like button for me. Do me a favor. I appreciate it. Yes, don't we? Lady Laura Baltimore, we love Kyle. Oh, love him. So happy that he is here with us and he's on our team. Good evening, Dewan 100. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. He's like, what up, everyone? I think the defense secondary is just way over talented. Probably the best group ever. I agree. This secondary is, I'm trying to think of another secondary who I would say is better than the Ravens. Let me know in the chat. Do you think that we are number one? If you had to rank us right now without any more adjustments, any more improvements, additions, subtractions, whatever, in terms of not just who we have at starter, but look at the depth that we have. I agree with you, Dewan. Our secondary, we are overly talented. Yeah, let's take some of that talent and spread it over to the offense because that's where I think we can improve. Look at our run defense when Kyle is not playing. We look totally different. He just has that. He has that way about him. He has that presence about him. These offenses are scared of him because Kyle is so versatile. You don't just see him playing free safety. You don't just see him playing, you can use Kyle anywhere on that field in a defensive formation. Doesn't matter what what formation scheme you run. Kyle Hamilton is going to be a threat. And you, as an offense, they know I have to watch out for him. Oh, Kyle is on the field? Shucks. What's coming next? What's going to happen? We can use Kyle anywhere, and everywhere we put Kyle, he thrives. So Dr. Ilwan says, edge is the only thing missing in this defense. I'll agree. Hope those guys can step it up 3 to 4 notches. 3 to 4 notches is good. We need it. We do. And I'll agree with you. Edge, that's what's missing on the defense. Yes, I agree. All right, Lady Laura Baltimore, she says, I got to see Owe play 8 games well first. He was injured last year, but when he came back, he was something. He was something. We just need to see consistency. And what I'm looking for Owe, and you can let me know if you disagree. What I'm looking for him is I want to see Odafe Owe not just pressure the quarterback, because pressure is great. That's wonderful. You're making that quarterback, off his game. He's, rushing his throw. He's hurrying. He's not focused. He can't go through his reads. That's your pressure. And that's wonderful. That is excellent. But I need to see you finish. I want to see you be able to implement whatever techniques, strategies, tactics you have in your toolbox so that you can sack that quarterback, put his butt on the ground. That's what I'm looking for. Do not give Joe Burrow all day to throw. Do not allow these other quarterbacks in our division, and I mean, not just our division, obviously, every opponent. Make sure, Owe, that you are not just out there applying pressure, but that you finish. You finish it. Man, if Owe and Ajabo can put it all together this year, Tanja says she's going to be so happy. I will too. I will too. I want to make sure Ajabo is healthy, and by all accounts, he is. So that's good. That's good. When Ajabo gets a sack every time he knocks that ball out, those are more opportunities for our offense. Great field positioning. Absolutely. That's what we need to see. That's right. That's right, Tora. Where is Pepe? We drafted him and we never saw him anymore. So it's like the return of Pepe. We're hearing that he's back on the field. He's actually they're not in pad yet, but he's actually practicing. That's great. That's great. Oh, now CJ the 6, now you were not nice. I used to say about Andy Isabella, is a who? Yes, that's where Pepe was. That's where Pepe was. Pepe was hanging out with this other player that we had formerly known as Andy is a who, because it was like, who is this guy? Where is he going? Why did we sign him? What business does he have on our team? All that. That's kind of what we had in Pepe. I'm going to take a few more comments and then I am going to get out of here for tonight. But again, before I go, if there's anything that I missed, because there was a lot. Again, there's Malik Ham, who we're hearing good things about. That's great. He can add to our pass rush. So, I've already talked about Ben Cleveland. I don't like that. One person I did forget to mention, and I'll come back to you, Dr. Elwine, I promise. One person I didn't want to mention, Bateman. I'm hearing really good things about Bateman. Obviously, the first few days, he's not practicing with Lamar because Lamar is out due to illness. I am really trying to temper expectations for Bateman. I want to get excited, just like some of you are about Owe. You're a little hesitant. That's kind of how I am about Bateman. I believe in Bateman. I know Bateman is an excellent route runner. I know that Bateman can get separation. I know Bateman can get open. I know all of that. I just need to make sure that he and Lamar are able to put that together and make that happen. If that be true, sky's the limit for us. Just offensive line, you need to protect. Let me go back to Dr. Ilwan's comment. Owe always has a great camp, but then drifts off during the season. Hopefully, with more reps now, he has the nod. Good point. That's why training camp can be a bit deceptive. And I know we're fans. We love our team. And we see something good or we hear something good and we take it and we run with it. Like, yes, do you see that? Did you hear that? But Dr. Ilwan brought it back home. You're right. There are players who have amazing offseason, great training camps, great, preseason if they play in the preseason. And then when the regular season comes around, it's like, what happened? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words. And I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Ilwan says he'll be making more plays. He has to. He has to. All of them have to make more plays. Yep. We got to have consistency. Lady Laura Baltimore said it. We have to have consistency. And we have to see it consistently where we are able to get the quarterback on the ground. Our division, AFC North, arguably the toughest in the league. That's my opinion. And everyone can, reasonable minds can differ. But AFC North, a different brand of football. And with the new addition over there in Pittsburgh, with their two quarterbacks, Justin Fields, and I'm not going to call him Mr. Sierra, but that's what people call him. That's not nice. But we need to be ready. Our edge rush, our pass, we need to be ready. Be able to consistently, no matter what opponent we have in front of us, we need to be able to get them on the ground. So, yeah. Oh, wait, got to wrap up. Got to do it. Got to do it. I remember when we had PQ a few years ago, and this might have been like maybe the year before we got Roquan, or maybe right before maybe the same season. There was the thing where like, okay, Patrick Queen, PQ was struggling to tackle. Come on, PQ, you got to wrap up. You got to wrap up. So same thing. All the Lady Laura Baltimore, all they got to do is knock Burrow on his hand and we will win. I'm hearing he's healthy. He's got this new hairdo and I'm hearing he is healthy. And we need to have an answer for him. We need to have an answer. What's our response? That's where the pass rush steps up, right? That's where the edge rush get to him. They gave him way too much time last year to throw. I will say that was one of Odafe Owe's sacks. Yes, it was. Joe Burrow on the ground. Thank you, Odafe. We appreciate your service. Tanja says, I have to see Bateman as well. I'm rooting for him. I just need to see it. That's where I land there. I'm right there with you. This is someone I haven't really heard a lot about. Tez Walker will surpass him as the wide receiver 2, and then the Ravens should draft another wide receiver in next year's draft on top of that. We'll see. We'll see. I haven't really heard a lot. It's been a busy week for me, so I haven't kept my ear to the streets as much as I would like, so to speak. But I was trying to listen out to see if I could find anything else, find anything about Tez. Nothing really stood out to me. So like Lady Laura Baltimore said, we will see. Ladies, gentlemen, that is all for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate it. Before you head out, if you'll do me a favor, hit the like button. And if you're new, welcome. Please subscribe to the channel. Join the family because football season is right around the corner and we have a lot in store for you over here. Thank you again for watching. And until next time, you all take care. You stay safe. And always remember, that's right. You know it. Go Ravens. God bless.